Les salutations, or greetings in French. In French, there are several different ways to greet someone. If it's somebody your age, or a family member, or someone that you know very well, you would be more informal and you would just say salut, which is the equivalent of hi in English. However, if you're going to be greeting somebody who you would be more formal with, like a teacher, police officer, someone that you don't know very well or you've just met, someone who is older than you, then you would be more formal and say bonjour, which is the equivalent as hello en anglais or in English. Typically, the word bonjour is followed by a greeting or someone's name, a title or someone's name. You would use mademoiselle, which is abbreviated MLLE, which is kind of like miss in English. You would use madame, which is abbreviated MME, and that would be for somebody who is married, a lady who is married, or monsieur, abbreviated with just the letter M and then a period for someone who is a man. So typically you would say bonjour madame or bonjour monsieur when you're greeting a teacher. They typically don't just say bonjour by itself. Now, if you're greeting somebody in the evening, sort of like after dinner time, then you would use the greeting bonsoir, which is good evening in English. To ask how are you, ça va is what you would use with a friend to be informal. It's really the equivalent of like what's up. You would use comment allez-vous to greet somebody who you would be more formal with, like a teacher or someone you don't know very well. I want you to notice the pronunciation for comment allez-vous. The word comment, you typically would not say that T at the end of it, but because the word aller starts with the letter A, you pronounce the T. We call this liaison, and it's something that happens with French pronunciation. A consonant at the end of the French word that is typically silent will be pronounced when a vowel follows it. So that's why we say comment allez-vous for how are you. There's several different ways to answer the question ça va or comment allez-vous. Ça va merci is probably the most typical polite way, which is like fine, thanks. Notice the cedilla under the C in ça va, which tells us to pronounce that C like an S. Pas mal et toi, or pas mal et vous, is how you would say not bad and you, another polite way of answering ça va. Or if you're just kind of having a so-so day, not great, not bad, you could say plus ou moins, which is so-so. Or if you're having a fantastic day, you could say ça va bien, to say it's going well, or I'm having a good day. If it's really great, then you would say ça va très bien. It's going very well. Notice that accent grave above the word très. Ça va très bien, for it's going very well. Or if you're kind of having a lousy day, you could say non, pas très bien. No, not too well, or it's not going too well. Or if it's really lousy, you could say ça va très mal. It's going very badly. So those are the way of greeting some when someone asks ça va or comment allez-vous. To ask someone's name, you would ask the question comment tu t'appelles? Notice our silent consonants we have here. Comment, you don't pronounce the T. Tu t'appelles, and the S is silent at the end of t'appelles. Comment tu t'appelles? What's your name? Or if you want to ask about someone, comment il s'appelle is how you would say what is his name, because il means he. Comment elle s'appelle is what is her name. Elle is she. Now I want to tell you that literally comment il s'appelle doesn't mean what is his name. It literally means how does he call himself. This is what we call a cultural difference. They just say how does he call himself. We say what is your name. Two different ways of asking basically the same information. Comment il s'appelle, comment elle s'appelle. To answer that question, to tell someone's name, you would say je m'appelle for my name is, or literally I call myself. So I would say je m'appelle Madame B. My name is Mrs. Burton. To answer comment il s'appelle, what is his name, you would answer il s'appelle, or he calls himself. So il s'appelle is his name is, and elle s'appelle is her name is. So il s'appelle Marc, elle s'appelle Brigitte. His name is, her name is. So you can see here, she says, comment tu t'appelles? And he says, je m'appelle Marc. To introduce someone, you could say, je te présente, if you're going to be informal. So if your friend's name is Marc, you could say, je te présente Marc. I'd like to introduce you to Marc. Or you could be more formal. So if you're going to introduce someone to a group of people or to a teacher, you would say, je vous présente. I would like to introduce you to, and then the person's name. Or, very informally, you could just simply say, ça c'est, this is. If it's a friend, you could say, c'est un ami, if it's a friend who is a guy. Or c'est une amie, if it's a friend that is a girl. This means, this is a friend. So, c'est un ami Marc, this is a friend, comma, Marc. When someone is introduced to you, you could respond with bonjour. So if somebody says, je te présente mon ami Marc, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Marc, you could just simply respond with bonjour, hello, or enchanté, which means it's nice to meet you. To ask someone's age, you would ask the question, tu as quel âge? I want you to notice that there's two A's in this question, in the word a and in the word âge. The letter A in French is typically always pronounced like A, like the letter A in the French alphabet. So to ask someone's age, you would say, tu as quel âge? QU in French is always just a K sound. So how old are you? Tu as quel âge? Or if you want to ask about somebody, if you wanted to say how old is he, you would say il a quel âge. If you wanted to say how old is she, elle a quel âge. To tell someone's age, so to answer those questions, to tell your own age, you would say j'ai, put in the number, and then the word an. Notice that S on the word an is completely silent. So to give your age, you would say j'ai blank an. So if you were 15 years old, you would say j'ai 15 ans. I am 15 years old. To talk about somebody else, if he is 15 years old, you would say il a 15 ans or elle a 15 ans. He is a certain number of years old and she is a certain number of years old. Literally, these mean I have a certain number of years and she or he has a certain number of years. They say it kind of differently literally in French. Okay, lastly, to say goodbye. There's several different ways. The most formal way is au revoir, which some people in France will pronounce au revoir. I typically just pronounce it au revoir. Depending on the dialect, you'll hear different things, but that's just formally goodbye. Or you could say à tout à l'heure, which is one way of saying see you later, à tout à l'heure. Or à plus tard, which is another way of saying see you later, tard. That D is silent on that word tard, so careful with that. À demain means see you tomorrow. À bientôt means see you soon. Notice with à bientôt, there's a T on the end that is also silent. So that does it then for our notes on greetings en français, les salutations. Okay, au revoir les élèves. À plus tard.